Welcome to Module 4, CLI Deep Dive. Now that we understand the package ecosystem, let's deep dive into the CLI. The CLI is often the fastest way to get value from OAS tools. You can validate, fix, convert, and diff specs without writing any Go code. Every command follows consistent patterns, supports piping, and returns meaningful exit codes for CI/CD. Validate your spec. The validate command is probably the one you'll use most. The source map flag is particularly useful. It formats errors as file line column, which means you can click on them in your IDE and jump straight to the problem. The format flag outputs structured JSON or YAML, which is perfect for CI/CD pipelines. In JSON mode, you get the validation result as a JSON object with valid, errors, warnings, and optionally the full document. Exit code 0 means valid, 1 means invalid. Auto-fix spec issues. The fix command is incredibly useful for cleaning up specs that come from code generators or API gateways. The most common fix is missing path parameters. When your spec defines a path like /users/open curly brace, user ID, closed curly brace, but doesn't declare the user ID parameter. With -infer, OAS tools infers the type from the name. User ID becomes integer, account UUID becomes string with UUID format. The -dry run flag is your safety net. It shows you exactly what would change without actually changing anything. You can also combine fix with validate in a pipeline to fix then validate. Version conversion. The convert command handles all version conversions. The most common use case is upgrading Swagger 2.0 specs to OpenAPI 3.x. The converter handles the structural differences. Consumes/produces arrays become content type maps in request body. Security definitions move to components/security schemes. Host and base path become server objects, and so on. Converting from 3.x to 2.0 is lossy. Features like callbacks, links, webhooks, and multiple servers don't exist in 2.0, so you'll get warnings about what was dropped. Always validate after converting. Compare specs. The diff command is essential for API governance. In simple mode, it reports every semantic difference between two specs. In breaking mode, it categorizes each change by impact severity. This is designed for CI/CD. You can add a step that diffs the PR spec against the main branch spec and fails the pipeline if breaking changes are introduced. The JSON output includes a has breaking changes Boolean and a breaking count for easy scripting. Cross-version comparison is supported with limitations, so you can diff a Swagger 2.0 spec against an OpenAPI 3.0 spec. Generate idiomatic Go code. The generate command produces idiomatic Go code from your spec. You choose what to generate, just types, a client, a server, or any combination. The server generation is particularly powerful. With -server all, you get a router, validation middleware that uses HTTP validator under the hood, request parameter binding, typed response writers, and stub implementations for testing. For large APIs, files are automatically split by tag and path prefix to keep them manageable. The generated code uses standard library net/HTTP, so there's no framework lock-in. Merge multiple specs. The join command is essential for microservice architectures. When you have separate specs for users, billing, payments, and notifications, you need to merge them into a single spec for your API gateway or documentation. The challenge is handling naming collisions. Two services might both define a user schema. Oastools gives you 6 strategies ranging from simple accept left or right to intelligent deduplication. Namespace prefixes let you automatically prepend a service name to all schemas from that source. And the semantic deduplication feature automatically consolidates schemas that are structurally identical, even if they came from different sources. Overlay transformations. Overlays implement the OpenAPI Overlay version 1.0.0 specification. They're YAML files that describe a set of targeted modifications to apply to a base spec. Each action has a JSON path target that identifies which nodes to modify and an update or remove operation. The dry run mode is invaluable. It shows you exactly how many nodes each action matches and what would change. The validate subcommand checks your overlay document for structural correctness before you try to apply it. Parse and inspect. The parse command is great for inspecting and debugging specs. It parses the document and outputs the full structure as JSON. With the -resolve refs flag, it follows all external references and inlines them, giving you a fully self-contained document. HTTP reference resolution is opt-in for security. By default, oastools won't make outbound HTTP requests. The quiet mode outputs only the JSON document, making it easy to pipe through JQ for extracting specific sections. Patterns across all commands. One of the design strengths of the CLI is consistency. Every command that produces a document sends diagnostics to standard error and the document to standard out. This separation is what makes piping work. When you pipe the output of fix into validate, only the fixed document flows through the pipe while the fixed diagnostics appear on your terminal. Every command uses the same exit code convention: 0 for success, 1 for failure. This makes it trivial to use in shell scripts and CI/CD pipelines with set-e or conditional logic. CI/CD pipeline examples. Here are practical CI/CD integration examples. The simplest is a validation step that runs the oastools validate command with the --strict flag on every PR. For breaking change detection, you diff the PR spec against the main branch version. Both commands use exit codes, so they integrate naturally with any CI system. You can also add a makefile target that combines validation and breaking change detection. These checks give you confidence that every PR that touches your spec is valid and doesn't break existing consumers. Complete CLI pipeline. Here's a complete pipeline that demonstrates the power of chaining CLI commands. We start with a Swagger 2.0 spec. Fix common issues and prune unused schemas. Convert it to OpenAPI 3.0.3. Validate the results strictly. Generate a Go client. And check for breaking changes against the previous version. Because every command uses exit codes, the set-e at the top means the script stops on the first failure. This entire pipeline could be a single CI/CD step. You could also write this as a one-liner using pipes, but the step-by-step version is more readable and lets you inspect intermediate results.